on this edition of Lifeguard.
The lifeguard dispatch, we have 3 guards hooked up for 4 or 5 shoots.
Guys, let's go! Get out!
All of us were in the water taking 8 waves on the head.
And
Guardian 1 on scene. It's going to be a C-spot in the water.
Forearm to the bone, kind of filleted open.
plus,
This is a Fisherman who got the pylon. Yeah, fish right up.
I tried to get him away from the pier, take him as far in as I could. He was just in a bad situation.
the lifeguards of Southern California protect over 400 miles of coastline,
It's just really us versus nature.
Get out!
and nothing impacts their day like the weather.
As lifeguards, the weather dictates the type of day that you're going to have.
Shark sighting, clear the water. I need medics to ski beach dock and other units.
On these beaches, lifeguards are the first responders.
1, 2, 3, 4. When you get this many people coming to the beach, things are going to happen.
Hey, you all right, buddy? You there?
They are there to save you.
He told me to grab the buoy. He was literally right there.
They are there to lifeguard. This is La Jolla, California. Located 12 miles north of downtown San Diego, La Jolla boasts an average summertime air temperature of 76 degrees. Warm temperatures and mild winds make La Jolla one of the most popular tourist destinations in Southern California.
La Jolla in general is just such a unique area. We have cliffs, we have reefs, we have rocks. We're in a giant marine reserve, leopard sharks, sea lions, seals, whales. Just all of that together just make this the perfect place to come on vacation, but it also makes it an excellent place to lifeguard because each one of those activities and each one of those unique areas here at the beach also gives a different challenge for lifeguarding.
In the heart of this community is La Jolla Cove. This little gem is equally popular with both locals and tourists.
La Jolla Cove's famous. It's inside the reserve, so it's usually really docile and really benign in there. It's really quiet. It's pretty renowned for the fish and your ability to snorkel out there and see. And that's the beauty of it. People that don't swim very well can still go out there and swim around and have a good time.
It's a hot day, and the crowds have come for a relaxing afternoon at the beach. But Mother Nature has other plans.
There's a big south swell that's coming up from Mexico, and there's also a northwest wind swell bump, which creates a pretty good and dynamic swell within the cove. The south swell is going to come up and wrap into the cove, but then we get the northwest wind swell that's going to come in and put a different lump into the surf, which creates another challenging aspect, making the rescues and also observing the water and the victims.
Ocean conditions at La Jolla depend on the weather, especially the wind. La Jolla Cove, I think, is particularly sensitive to low height, long period South Pacific swell, and that the waves may not become ever gigantic, but the grouping is very pronounced.
During any ocean swell, the waves come to the shore in sets, but no one can predict when the big ones will roll in.
We've got the dropping tide with the swell with the right direction. So this area over here, the Boulderfield, which we know we're supposed to stay out of, that's where all the energy focuses.
Conditions are getting worse. With a crowded beach and an unpredictable ocean, lifeguards take action.
Attention swimmers, we do have some strong rip currents and large surf. If you do not have fins and are a strong ocean swimmer, please remain very close to shore at all times. Thank you.
People are just here to have fun and get their tan on and enjoy. And we like it like that. But the ocean keeps moving. The set is coming, the water's coming off the beach, the rip is sucking, and we've got a lot of people in the water and limited guards.
Just as lifeguards are warning the last of the swimmers, a violent set of waves begins to roll in.
2 guards in currently on 2 rescues and a lot of potential.
Lifeguards need backup. Jet 3 is dispatched from La Jolla shores.
Copy, Jet 3 en route.
4-year veteran Zach Long is one of the guards in the water.
We were making some rescues on the inside after a set had started pushing everybody into the Boulderfield. They were both pretty calm. We told them to take hold of our buoys. They weren't panicking or anything. They were just in a really bad spot.
Guys, let's go! Get out!
With the help of lifeguards, exhausted swimmers fight their way to shore as even more guards enter the water to rescue others in distress. The relentless surf is pushing victims closer and closer to the dangerous boulder fields.
A 6-foot wave, it has a lot of energy. And the dynamics of that is that people they think that they're okay, and by the second and third wave, they're pushed over into the rocks over here, which is the worst place you want to be.
I was out swimming and like 3 giant waves that took me under, and I was definitely like, I'm gonna drown right now. Then the lifeguard saved me and handed me a buoy.
Jet 3 arrives at the cove to bring victims to shore.
Lifeguard dispatch, we have 3 guards hooked up with maybe about 4 or 5 rescues.
The beach is chaotic. At this point, 10 swimmers have been saved, and every guard in the water is busy rescuing multiple victims.
Jet 3 is in the hole, right off laser. 1 victim, 1 hookup.
Lifeguard John Kerr is radioing for backup when he spots yet another swimmer in distress.
Everyone had at least 2 victims. I ran out of guards. I'm the last man standing. So now I've got to go. It's clear to me that I've got to go, and now I abandon the station. So now I'm in.
Lifeguard dispatch, Cove on staff. Copy, Cove on staff.
Kerr races to the victim and helps him onto his board.
That was a extremely abnormal condition. We couldn't tell that set was coming until all of us were in the water taking 8 waves on the head.
The waves are getting bigger. Then, lifeguards notice 2 swimmers drifting dangerously close to the boulder field. Eric Guerrero and Zach Long were the first lifeguards to reach the victims.
When we got to them, they were about 5-10 yards away from some really dangerous rocks. The victim and I were both very concerned for our own well-being. So as soon as I got him on the can, I said, just don't let go. I put my head down and I swam as hard as I could, going under maybe 10 waves, consistently looking back to see if my partner was doing okay. And as I'm swimming out, I'm making it under waves. He's getting pulled back into the hole area, and it just became a very hazardous situation.
The wave surge is incredibly powerful. Even the seals struggle in the turbulent water.
With the conditions, it was a long swim. I probably swam him out about 100 yards, just out to sea, just to try and get away from the rocks. Once we were out on the outside, I was able to stabilize the victim on the rescue board, and the ski came by and picked up 1 victim while I held on, stabilized another victim, and then they took them into the beach.
Saw any water?
Basically, I'm a pretty seasoned person in terms of going to the ocean today, and usually the coast, usually about the calmest area, because that's mainly for novices, but not today, though. It shows you the power of nature.
With the waves dying down and all swimmers back on land, the exhausted guards return to a grateful beach.
National Lake Cove has reached him. We are clear at the cove.
We had a super busy day today. A 4-wave set, 4-wave set, a 16-wave set. So trouble. Everyone in that event had at least 2 victims. But our whole business is keeping you safe. That's why we do the job, is to help people.
Located in the heart of San Diego, Mission Bay is a prominent feature on the Southern California coastline. Covering over 4,000 acres, the bay is the largest man-made aquatic park in America. Today, triple-digit temperatures inland have brought boaters and jet skiers en masse to Mission Bay.
A friend of mine and his wife, we decided to take his boat out and just kind of cruise the bay for a while. It was just getting kind of crowded, so we were just going to go and head on home. Heading home, going south in the water. I'm sitting on the front passenger side of the boat, my friend's driving, and I look out of the corner of my eye, I see something in the water. I look over, I see a jet skier. It kind of looked like they're going to cross our path, and I realized that it wasn't going to cross the path, we were going to run into each other. Before I could say anything, the jet skier hit our boat.
In this exclusive footage, we see the collision. The PWC on the right of the screen is traveling west as it collides with an 18-foot passenger boat. Luckily for the victim, lifeguard Mike Manley is only 20 yards away, when he witnesses the accident.
I was on patrol in Lifeguard vessel Guardian 1. I just see a PWC and a vessel collide. The operator of the PWC was in the water. He was conscious, in a lot of pain.
Guardian 1 on scene, Fiesta Bay, PWC collision. I need medics to Ski Beach dock and other units. It's gonna be a C-spine in the water.
Lifeguard Steve Orlowski pulls up on his rescue boat within 2 minutes.
I'm on scene. We got one guard with the victim. He's oriented times 4. He's got a broken arm, broken leg. We're gonna take C-spine in the water.
Officer Manley was in the water. About 30 feet away from the hull of an overturned PWC was a gentleman screaming, "What just happened? What just happened? His leg hurt, don't touch me, leave me alone." We had a lot of wave motion and turbulence in the water. Saw a lot of pink in the water. I, at that time, decided, for airway precautions, C-spine precautions, we're gonna be kind of pushed away. We need to get that guy onto a boat.
He just reached over the gunnel on his vessel, handed me the backboard. He seemed to be in shock. He was kind of worried about a lot of other extraneous things other than exactly what just happened.
Together, Manley and Orlowski get the victim into Rescue West and begin first aid.
And on his right knee, there was a pretty significant abrasion. He was saying that he couldn't move his knee. And then I saw on his right arm, close to the elbow, his forearm to the bone, kind of filleted open.
So we wrapped it and stopped the bleeding as quickly as possible. There was a lot of blood. So we cleaned that up and wrapped it up, realizing that there was some leg damage on his right leg.
The victim has experienced major trauma. Manley and Orlowski are concerned about internal injuries. The Lifeguard fireboat arrives and escorts Rescue West to the dock at Ski Beach.
It's all open there. This is just wide open to the bone. Okay. How's your thigh? Is it your knee?
No, it's just my knee.
Okay.
Yeah, so your toes. Negative toes.
The victim is alive, but in shock. And it's unknown if he has any internal injuries.
Can run you up to the hospital, get checked out.
I don't want to go to the hospital, man.
You got it, bud. You got it. Pretty significant injury.
Yep. Because it happened in front of us, we were right there. So we cut a lot of time off that golden hour.
You guys probably got blood on you.
You have an hour to respond and get that patient to ultimate care of the trauma surgeon.
Come on, watch your feet. Watch my feet.
Yeah.
All right, partner. Let's go to that door.
It's 3 months before Memorial Day, and the Pacific Ocean is less than inviting. The swells that roll in this time of year are generated 1,000 miles to the north, off the icy Alaskan coastline. On the beach, a cold wind is blowing from the south. So why are all these people headed toward the ocean?
Okay, folks, you want to listen up.
All across the Southland, eager young men and women have come to compete for the summer job of a lifetime. They want to be lifeguards.
This beach is one of the toughest beaches to lifeguard in all of the United States.
79 candidates arrive in Huntington Beach to compete in a series of endurance tests. Less than 20 will make the cut.
Ladies and gentlemen, good luck. This is one of the best jobs there is in the world.
Okay, Hamburg here gets number 91.
For 6 years, I've wanted to be a lifeguard. It's really important because if I get this job, I'm gonna be like, oh, I was a lifeguard. I dealt with emergency situations and I was able to save lives. It's actually not that bad. It's like 59, so better than last year's.
Stay in position, do not move, please.
The first elimination event is a 1,000-yard swim out and around the pier.
The water is below 60 degrees today, and on their way out, they will be shocked by the cold water. And then once they get hit by a wave or two, a lot of people will turn around and come back in. That's where we separate the people that overestimate their ability from the ones who have the ability.
I do long distance in high school for swimming, so it's kind of like what I do.
I'm feeling pretty good about this year and hoping that I can make the cut through training to get hired for the summer.
I've been waiting to do this for a long time. Going through junior guards, this has always been my goal in the end, so I'm pretty excited.
You're rounding the piling, not the paddler. You got to go around the piling. He's just marking the piling that I want you to go around. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you are in the hands of the starter.
Right away, lifeguards begin pulling competitors from the water. The currents and frigid temperatures proved to be too much for some of them.
I was like about halfway. Started too fast early and then I just got way too tired.
We've had people with back spasms who could not finish. We've had people with leg cramps, which is unfortunate, but you know, that's part of lifeguarding. It's not just one rescue and you're done. You're there all day long.
Lifeguard hopeful Tony Morelli is the first one to finish.
I was really happy that I came in first.
Every second in every race will determine who will make the final list.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're now down to 58.
Applicants are given 10 minutes to catch their breath, while lifeguards attend to the wounded.
He just brushed up against one of the pilings in competition, and he had a slight laceration on his tricep and also another few lacerations on his leg. So we cleaned the wound, we stopped the bleeding, and he's back in action, ready to go. He's gonna try and get this job.
The final event of the day is a 1,000-yard run, combined with a 500-yard swim.
All right, you know, walk it in now. Keep in line, stay in line.
Of the 79 applicants who started this morning, 22 have dropped out. The other 57 are fighting for 19 slots.
When I saw my name, like, I wanted to do a little dance, but like it didn't. It just felt good.
For the others, there's always next summer. It's Memorial Day weekend in Huntington Beach, and the rookies have been training for 6 weeks. Today will be the first day on the beach for many, and it won't be easy. 2 storms in the Pacific have created a heavy south swell that's causing larger than normal waves.
It's really hot inland. You can almost feel the high pressure system out here too. We're expecting it to be warm on the sand again, probably in the 80s again. And of course we have a good sized swell happening, so there's a lot of activity in the water, and with the amount of people we have for a holiday weekend, we're probably expecting to have a pretty busy day.
Huntington Beach has remarkably good conditions sometimes with south swell, waves coming from the South Pacific. And there's 2 reasons. One is there's no islands in the way. A second reason is there is a canyon, an underwater canyon near Huntington Beach, and it alters the waves as they approach Huntington Beach. And in fact, it twists and turns them and makes big waves even bigger.
Today, Marine Safety Officer Tony Villalobos is keeping an eye on the beach and the rookies.
Today we have 4 rookies working. We've trained the rookies to be able to identify victims and identify hazards. And obviously, if we have a victim and a hazard together, that's gonna probably most likely be a response.
Directly north of the pier is rookie lifeguard Sydney Estrella, the only female guard to make this year's cut.
The big deal about today is today's my first day working. I've been practicing since I was little, doing junior guards, and now like it's the real thing. And so it's kind of special.
The rip currents are at their peak when Sydney spots a swimmer being pulled offshore.
I wanted to become a lifeguard because I wanted to go into like the medical industry, I guess you can say, and like become a doctor, a paramedic. So this is like a great job to like start off and get that experience.
Sydney's first rescue is in the books. Meanwhile, at Tower 3, lifeguard rookie Tony Morelli starts his dream job.
When I was younger, I'd come down to the beach. I mean, I'd see the lifeguards and how like fulfilling it is to like actually go out and save somebody from drowning. It's just an amazing feeling. I mean, I wouldn't trade this job for anything else.
It's 11:30 a.m. and a fisherman has just fallen off the end of the pier. The 3-story drop, 63-degree water, and rough sea spell trouble. Tony Morelli leaps into action.
My first instinct was like to see if he was okay. It was just a sprint out there, and just like the adrenaline's going, and he was on the pilings, just climbing up those barnacles. They're sharp. He was just in a bad situation.
Marine Safety Officer Tony Villalobos calls for a rescue boat as he races to the scene.
This is a fisherman who grabbed the pylon. Fish scraped up.
5240 responding. Obviously with the big surf, this person's probably going to be inexperienced, and we're worried about them obviously getting swept in the pier.
Lifeguard rookie Tony Morelli has reached the victim. He finds a bloody 35-year-old man clinging to the pier for his life.
A bunch of people were like yelling. I tried to get him away from the pier. I just tried to like take him as far in as I could before the outside breaks.
The boat's backed in. They're going to go ahead and pick them both up because it's going to be just too unsafe to bring them into this zone through here. So you can see them right now in the back of the boat. Boat's picked them up. Boat's now going to make a quick maneuver to get over this wave.
You see that? That was a big wave.
The lifeguard boat team must get in and out fast. If the teamwork between Morelli and the deckhand is not precise, the boat may get hit by the next set of waves.
Hurry up, let's go.
I paddled a little bit out to the boat. The deckhand on the boat just grabbed his arm and threw him on the boat and got out as fast as he could because there's a wave about to break right there.
We're going to go ahead and take him down to Tower 7 and deckhand will film him in if you can take 7 that area.
10-4 Wool, 10-4-9 the area, Tower 7.
The boat transports the victim to Tower 7, where he can be escorted to shore away from the crashing waves.
So our deckhand's going to jump off with the victim. You can see him getting the victim in. Boat operator's going to try to back in as much as he can. And the idea is that our shotgun guard and the deckhand sort of meet somewhere halfway. He needs to be very careful with the large surf here, so that was good timing. We tried to time it to bring him in the safest route possible.
With the victim safe on the beach, Villalobos can now assess the man's injuries.
I see a couple of abrasions here and there. We're going to go ahead and just clean you up really, really quickly. I'm going to put you on the back of my car so I can take a look at your knee. So make sure you clean your wounds and stuff when you get home, okay?
Okay, Roger.
Thank you, guys. We just had probably our biggest swell of the year.
The guards did a good job of keeping everybody inside, and that's what we've trained them to do.
On this edition of Lifeguard.
I'm receiving a 911 call, water-related emergency.
The first thought was, oh my God, somebody's drowning.
Get this girl, get me out of here, get us back to the shore.
She was unconscious.
I was just dying to grab that board and go. Get me on scene, fast.
Plus, a death-defying fall from 100 feet up.
He went straight into the turbulent air, and his glider started to shudder. He went straight up, and it went down and out of sight.
The Lifeguards of Southern California protect over 400 miles of coastline.
It's just really us versus nature.
And nothing impacts their day like the weather.
As lifeguards, the weather dictates the type of day that you're going to have.
Shark sighting, clear the water.
I need medics to ski beach dock and other units.
On these beaches, lifeguards are the first responders.
1, 2, 3, 4. When you get this many people coming to the beach, things are going to happen.
Hey, you all right, buddy? You there?
They are there to save you.
He told me to grab the buoy. He was literally right there.
They are there to lifeguard. At the northern end of San Diego rests a small strip of sand known as Torrey Pines State Beach. Easily accessed by Coastal Route 1, this area is a popular spot for the local inlanders to escape the heat. Lifeguard supervisor Ed Vidraska has been working this beach for over 10 years.
We always monitor the weather because our visitation is highly predicated on the weather.
While the weather in Torrey Pines is often predictable, its dangerous rip currents are not.
When the tide changes, we get rip currents. And on the dropping tide, the rip currents have a little bit more speed to them, a little bit more oomph, a little bit more power. When that happens, that creates a lot more of our rescues. We probably make about 90% of our rescues when the rip currents are happening, and we will certainly have some today. The water temperature's been very warm the last few days, so the public knows that, and the word kind of gets out, and we have a lot of people here. The tide is going to be dropping for the next several hours, and as it does that, it's going to create more rips for it.
Rip currents are created when large volumes of water rush across the uneven sand beds, creating channels of strong, fast-moving currents out to sea. These so-called flash rips often form in a matter of seconds and can swiftly drag swimmers away from the beach. This is Tower 2 at Torrey Pines State Beach. On the tower today is lifeguard Bryant Davies.
Tower 2, Torrey Pines, is a tower that has a lot of action. There's a lot of things that can happen. There's rip currents that pop up, so that kind of rescue is fairly common.
All our guards know very well about the Tower 2 rip. That's why we put a veteran lifeguard in this tower.
Today we have not big surf, but medium, so the rip currents are pulling.
Lifeguard Davies is scanning the waters off Tower 2 when he sees a young boy in trouble.
When I noticed the kid struggling on his way back in, I realized it was something I had to respond as quickly as possible to.
The victim is a 10-year-old boy who has been pulled out by the Tower 2 rip. He's a good swimmer, but can't escape the current pulling him out to sea.
Thought he could touch, but when I got out there, he realized he was a lot deeper than he actually was. He told me that he needed some assistance getting back in.
The boy has rolled onto his back and desperately tries to stay afloat. Lifeguard Davies can sense his exhaustion.
So I wrapped my buoy around him and pulled him in.
This was the fourth person that Bryant has pulled out of the rip this morning. Later that day, lifeguard and peace officer Micah Moore checks in with Tower 2.
Have you been pretty busy down here?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy lately.
Moore is a 4-year veteran of the state park lifeguard system.
Of all the jobs I've had, this one, just helping people in the manner we do, is by far the most rewarding thing that I've done.
Micah knows Tower 2 all too well. On March 20th, 2010, Moore and lifeguard Catherine Graham closed their tower at 6 p.m. They are now a mile away back at headquarters. The beach is now unguarded, but the rip current in front of Tower 2 is working overtime.
I'm in Torrey Pines State Reserve. There's a guy right here calling for help because his girlfriend is looking at the water. Okay, hold on the line, please. Hold on the line.
It's about a mile away to the shop up at the top of the hill. Catherine was washing down the Jeep. I changed out of my reds and put on my clothes, and we hear a call come in.
Lifeguard dispatch 31 Sam, receiving a 911 call. Water-related emergency, Torrey Pines.
I need my fins. There's a buoy in the car. Jumped in the car, changing out of my clothes, putting my red trunks back on.
2 young swimmers, Jessica and Troy Lee, have been sucked 50 yards offshore. This amateur video shows Jessica struggling in the current.
There's a second person out there that no one can see. Okay. The other guy went under. Yes. Okay.
The calls we were getting from our dispatch that were 911 relays were that there were 2 victims, a male and a female. A male had gone out after the female. I expected to see 2 people out in front of Tower 2. That's where they were reporting it. By the time we get down to the hill, we could see someone out in the water. The sun was in our eyes. There was a lot of glare. So we could just see 2 dark objects in the middle of the rip. It wasn't until we got closer that we noticed that one of those was not a body, it was actually a bodyboard.
Catherine continues to scan the water for the second victim, while Micah grabs his fins and sprints after Jessica. On the shore, Catherine radios for immediate backup. San Diego Dispatch is quick to respond.
Dispatch 31 Sam, swimmers in distress, Torrey Pines, outside Tower 2.
The first thought that came over my mind was, oh my God, somebody's drowning. We knew we had to act fast.
Get one heading that way.
I knew it was going to be quite some distance. I remember looking down at the speedometer at one point, and the speed was faster than I've ever seen it.
From Black's Beach, San Diego lifeguards Eric Kerr and Lance Mendoza initiate a Code 3 response.
And so when the call came through, we also responded. We're about 5.5 miles away. You're thinking, just get me on scene fast.
Micah paddles through 53-degree water with 3-foot waves crashing all around him.
I had a general idea of where she was. She was out towards the end of the rip. But the problem in the rip current, there's times where you're not able to see what's ahead of you. So a lot of that, I was trying to swim with my head up as much as I can. And every time, I was kind of at the crest of a wave, I'm looking to see if I could see where she was. I was able to keep an eye on the boogie board for most of it, I only remember seeing her one last time before I got to the boogie board. I don't remember seeing her again.
Just before Micah reaches her, Jessica succumbs to the elements and sinks from view.
I remember thinking, this is my last chance, I've got to find her. And a wave broke. Once that wave broke and I went under, I just determined, all right, I'm gonna be underwater till I find her.
In a desperate maneuver, Micah dives toward the bottom.
She's underwater in this direction somewhere. And so I just kind of had my eyes open. To me, it felt like a long time that I was under the water. I noticed a body and it was just going down, 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 down. I grabbed a hold of her under her armpits and then just kicked for the surface, popped up, and I was just trying to keep her airway open, signaled for help.
70 yards offshore, Micah treads water in the cold, pounding surf. Without a free arm to swim, the rip current pulls the two of them farther out to sea.
I was just praying to God, you know, get this girl, get me out of here, get us back to the shore.
Lifeguard Catherine Graham is scanning the water for the other victim as San Diego lifeguards Eric Kerr and Lance Mendoza pull up to the scene.
I was driving, so I just looked for the closest spot to where people were waving. I pulled in and just put the brakes on as fast as I can. Sergeant Kerr jumped off, grabbed the surfboard, and scurried down the rocks like a madman.
With secondary lifeguards now on scene, Catherine sprints into the water.
Catherine knew once she had all the resources in place that she could come and assist me.
Okay, I'm seeing a lifeguard going in there in the water right now.
Okay, good.
The Rangers are about to go in the water too.
Great. And Francisco, we will have all kinds of resources there shortly, so you're helping quite a bit. Stay on the line.
Okay.
When I was paddling up to the victim, going as fast as I could. As I got closer, I could tell he had one of the victims on the surface.
I knew that at some point Catherine was gonna get to me, but as soon as Eric paddled up on that board, I just remember thinking, this is, okay, awesome, we gotta get this girl on this board.
I could tell that she was certainly unconscious, and I could see her airway was filled with vomit, seawater. Just gave her one strong ventilation, turned her on her side. All that air came back out and blew vomit, seawater out.
The victim is barely alive. With time running out, Eric Kerr paddles her toward the shoreline.
As I got about halfway to the beach, our jet ski, which was also responding, came on scene.
She was unconscious. She was lifeless. We knew that we had seconds to get her breathing again, get her to onto the beach to give her a heartbeat again.
I just told Catherine, get her into shore as fast as you can. I'll stay out here and keep looking for this second person that I was told was out here.
With the drowned girl now on the beach, medics go to work trying to resuscitate her.
We got to the beach, and she was just a limp, unconscious person at the time.
As medics prepare to transport Jessica Ung, lifeguards head back out in search of Troy Lee.
We knew we had to get back in the water, that we needed to find him immediately.
Micah Moore is still frantically searching the 53-degree water.
Francisco,
Yeah.
the last place that you saw the woman, I want you to etch that in your mind, and I want you to try to remember exactly the last place you saw her. You've already helped us save one person. Now we want to try to help you.
Surcom 1258.
1258, Surcom.
I'll be there in just a minute.
I was off duty that day, and I was called in late in the afternoon. I got a call from my supervisor telling me that there was a drowning that had just occurred. I got into my Jeep and I came down the hill. It was a very complicated situation when I arrived on scene because we had about 5 or 6 different witnesses, each one with a different story. So when I arrived on scene, I became the incident commander. I found 5 or 6 different witnesses, and I immediately tried to interview those people to try to get as much information as I could.
Lifeguard and peace officer Ed Vadroska determines the point last seen and initiates a full-scale sweep of the water.
We started a full-fledged Codex emergency where we try to saturate the water with as many divers as we possibly can to try to find the other victim.
As the search for Troy Lee continues, Jessica arrives at a local hospital. There she slips into a coma, and doctors do not expect her to survive the night. It's been over an hour since the 911 call, and still no sign of Troy Lee.
The sun had set, and with the waves and currents and the lack of light, operationally there wasn't much more that could be done.
Rescue operations have come to an end. The next morning, Vadroska leads the recovery efforts.
We put 60 divers in the water. In the next 2 days, covered an expansive area here, all the way down to the bluff edge down there, probably 3/4 of a mile of ocean, and we were unable to locate his body.
3 days after that tragic night, lifeguards receive an update on Jessica's condition. Miraculously, she defied all odds and came out of her coma. La Jolla Shores is a popular 1-mile stretch of San Diego that spans from La Jolla Cove all the way to the end of Black's Beach. At the top of Black's Beach is the Torrey Pines Glider Port, one of the most popular destinations in the world for paragliding.
The gliders have been around for some 30 years now, and within the last 5 to 10 years, the advances have just made an amazing aircraft.
Paraglider pilots come here for one reason: the weather. Here, the steady onshore winds hit the nearly vertical cliffs. This creates an updraft of wind that keeps the paragliders in the air for hours at a time. But whenever people attempt to fly, there is danger. In May 2012, a 52-year-old woman was flying above Torrey Pines when she lost control of her paraglider. Lifeguards responded quickly, but it was too late. She became the third person to lose her life here in the last 20 years. No stranger to this type of emergency, 13-year veteran Sergeant Mike Cranston is on patrol when he hears a similar call. Longtime paraglider Bob Hammond witnessed the crash firsthand.
As soon as I saw him, I said to myself, what is he doing? He was launching from that flag right there, which is exactly where you don't want to be. The front of the glider folded like that, and he just kind of went down and out of sight. When I saw him go down, I figured it was pretty serious.
Sergeant Cranston arrives on scene and faces several challenges: finding the victim, determining his injuries, and then extricating him.
Dispatch, I'm just pulling into the glider port and we'll initiate glider port command.
The victim has fallen in an inaccessible section of the cliff. Ground and water units are deployed to see if they can spot his location.
We can't do verbal communications as easy as we'd want because the wind is quite noisy this high up on the cliffs.
So we actually launched the ski and we had the ski go down the beach to see if they could see anything.
A visual on him now. He's behind that ridge. He's got a blue helmet. He may be stuck or injured.
Although they found the victim, getting to him is no easy task.
He's some distance away from our rescuer down there who can see him. So we're going to put one of our guys over the edge on rope to go down and make contact.
Lifeguards begin rigging the main line while the rescuer loads an emergency trauma pack in case the paraglider needs immediate medical attention. Lifeguard Rob Eichelberger will be the rescuer lowered down the steep cliff's edge.
The cliffs at Black's Beach are sandstone and they're constantly crumbling. We've had a couple of landslides in the last couple of years. So it's always something that's in the back of your head as a rescuer going over.
Lifeguard Eichelberger has descended over 200 feet. Lifeguards on the beach guide him to the victim.
Be right below you. Dispatch update, rescuers at the victim. Confirmation, non-injury. He's stuck where he is, and he is unable to go any further.
Because it's late in the day, we're very aware of the light that we're losing and the possibility that this could go into darkness.
Call slowly. He's got some vertical, so nice and slow.
It's about 10 feet to the vertical.
Calling slowly.
The challenges of getting the victim back up the cliff are making sure that the victim has what we call 2 points of attachment, one in the safety line and one in the main line, and then just kind of guiding them up the cliff.
You doing all right, Ed?
Yeah.
Just stand by when we're seeing a police car.
Tethered to the guards, the victim ascends the cliff face, carefully guided along the way. Anxious to get to level ground, he's not out of danger just yet.
Slowly.
Luckily, in this case, the person wasn't injured, An injury response on the side of a cliff is a lot more complicated. It involves a helicopter, us going over the edge with backboards and stretchers. We could tell he was walking, we just couldn't tell if there was any injuries we didn't know about.
Stop! Release slowly.
I don't want to say this was an easy cliff rescue because none of them are easy and they all have a high element of danger and risk. However, this one went about as straightforward as it could have gone. This is kind of what we train for.
4 feet.
Patients up top.
Yeah. We're glad you're okay.
No, I'm fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Be safe.
No problem. I fly a little bit, all of a sudden it starts spinning. And I said, okay, that's it. I lose all control. Lifeguard with the help whenever it happens. If they're not there, maybe I climb and just slip and fall. I don't know.
It's been 2 years since Jessica Ung nearly drowned at Torrey Pines State Beach.
Okay, I'm seeing the lifeguard going in there in the water right now. The range is about to go in the water too.
Today, she returns to Torrey Pines to meet with Ed Vadraska, the incident commander of that fateful rescue.
Have you gone into the ocean since the event?
I came a couple of times right after I got out of the hospital. Just kind of put my toes in the water. That's about it. I'm still a little afraid to go out there.
Right about here is actually where the whole event happened. Right now, the ocean is a lot safer than the day that you were here. And there was a big trough right on the inside here. And you actually got into that trough. And it was just a really bad place to swim, unfortunately. And you got in that rip current and then you started getting pulled out. You don't remember the lifeguard getting to you?
No. I remember it was a really warm day. It's really sunny, a really beautiful day. I went to the beach with my friend Troy. We had one boogie board. I had the first turn. I went out there. When the wave came, I was barely hanging on and it just ripped out of my hands. After struggling, I knew it was impossible for me to get the boogie board, so I just tried to stay up until someone could come get me.
The lifeguards were gone for the day, but her friend Troy Lee recognized the danger.
He saw that I was in trouble, so he was waving his arms, screaming for help.
Witness statements report that Troy Lee entered the water in an effort to save Jessica, but was swiftly pulled out by the rip current. He never reached his friend.
I couldn't get my whole head or my shoulders out of the water anymore. It was just my face. So the last thing I remember seeing was looking up to the sky, and that was all that I could see. I felt that I was going to die.
Thanks to an incredible collaborative effort between California State Beach Lifeguards and San Diego Lifeguards, Jessica was pulled from the water and brought to shore. She spent 3 days in a coma and miraculously survived.
The nurse and the doctor tell me then she maybe never come back from the coma. And that was terrible to see your daughter lay down there and almost shut me down.
It was a bittersweet rescue. 18-year-old Troy Lee lost his life trying to save Jessica. Several days were spent searching for him, but his body was never recovered.
I woke up in the hospital, and the first thing I thought about was him. I wanted him to know that I was okay. And I had no idea that he went in the water. I thought he was completely fine because the last thing I saw, he was on the shore.
Jessica has no memory of her drowning. Lifeguard Ed Vadraska was able to arrange a private meeting so she could thank her rescuers.
I'm so grateful and thankful for Ed, Micah, and their whole entire crew. They're heroes.
on this edition of Lifeguard.
On a red flag day like today, nothing's going to be smooth. We get those big sets and the boat's out there. He needs to make it over those sets. He can't get caught inside or else we're going to have a serious problem.
And
there's been a report of a shark sighting in the area.
For your safety, we ask that you exit the water.
Plus,
this girl came up to me. She's like, I think my sister burned her hand back in the fire pits.
Just went through her skin down into her nerves. It's a bad burn.
And later.
This is the last day of rookie school. We're gonna do the 3-mile swim.
It's gonna be a super long swim. I'm a little worried about sharks.
The Lifeguards of Southern California protect over 400 miles of coastline.
It's just really us versus nature.
And nothing impacts their day like the weather.
As lifeguards, the weather dictates the type of day that you're going to have.
Shark sighting, clear the water.
I need medics to ski beach dock and other units.
On these beaches, lifeguards are the first responders.
1, 2, 3, 4. When you get this many people coming to the beach, things are going to happen.
Hey, you all right, buddy? You there?
They are there to save you.
He told me to grab the buoy. He was literally right there.
They are there to lifeguard. Newport Beach, often home to the biggest waves in Southern California. The surf may not be consistently large, but when the conditions are right, the waves here are legendary.
Ocean conditions at Newport Beach vary a lot, and that variation depends on the weather, especially the wind. Waves are generated by the wind blowing over the ocean surface. A storm is the same way as an atmospheric rock dropped in the ocean, and the waves move away from where they were created. And our waves come from storms that are relatively far away.
Earlier this week, a storm in the South Pacific began moving sets of waves towards Southern California. Today, they're making landfall in Newport Beach. For Lifeguard Supervisor George Leeper, that means today is going to be busy.
Vibe right now for this area, all the guards are probably on pins and needles. Anything could happen at any moment right now. The swell has been big all weekend, and all the lifeguards have to be on high alert because it makes the rip currents that much stronger.
Due to the Pacific swell, red flags and cones are used as educational markers to warn the public of dangerous conditions.
Most of the people that are trying to be in waist-deep water, it's because they're not that good of a swimmer, but it's not always up to you where waist-deep water is. It can change very quickly.
Lifeguard Zach Larkin was watching the pounding surf from Tower 61.
A pretty big set came through and a rip current popped right here in front of the tower, slightly to the right, and there was 4 victims inside the rip current.
Lifeguard Larkin calls for backup and races into the ocean.
The issue was there was another set coming, so some pretty big waves, maybe 6-foot faces, and 2 of the victims were pretty young.
5341, 61 rescue outside with multiple victims. 10-4 en route for 52.
Larkin and the rescue boat arrive at the victims at the same time.
You guys all right?
Lifeguard George Leeper has also responded. His job is to back up Tower 61.
As we pulled up, the guard from 61 and 65 were both in the water. The boat was back down, helping out. I jumped out of the rig here to back up the rescue.
This rescue will be difficult. The waves are pounding both lifeguards and their victims. The boat has only seconds to get close enough to haul in any of the swimmers.
On a red flag day like today, nothing's going to be smooth. We get those big sets and the boat's out there. He needs to make it over those sets. He can't get caught inside or else we're going to have a serious problem.
3 victims are safely on board. Then, trouble. A giant set of waves forces the rescue boat away from the rip current, leaving lifeguards and a female victim in the impact zone.
As I said, grab on your board, hang on your board, and I said, I got you, just hang on real tight, don't let go.
Lifeguards Larkin and Marienthal have only seconds to pull in the 4th victim before another wave breaks.
All right. Okay, you grab the handle. You grab my hand. Okay, get your foot on the step if you can. There you go. I was the only guard left on the beach when I saw 3 more kids started getting pulled out in a rip too. 5375, I'm gonna be responding towards the left side of 61. Looks like 3 victims.
Both Leaper and the rescue boat react to the new danger.
And I saw one big wave just crush that kid, and his boogie board went flying up in the air. I pulled up, I took off my sunglasses, my shirt, put my fins on, I get my buoy, I start dolphining out.
Giant waves pound Leaper as he fights his way toward the struggling swimmers. The Sea Watch, still carrying the Tower 61 victims, is approaching quickly from the north. Every time Leaper thinks he's getting close, the rip current pulls the victims farther away. The boat arrives first. Lifeguard Rob Marienthal is quickly in the water.
I saw a little kid that looked like he was really flustered as we grabbed him by the boogie board, tell him to get on, and usually give him a good ride in.
Those kids probably would have drowned over there. That was a very heavy situation. It was about a 6-foot set, breaking right on their heads, and they're getting pulled out in a rip. They had no fins on. They seem like decent swimmers, but I don't care if you're Michael Phelps, you're not gonna be able to swim against a rip current.
Kept getting pulled back and forth. My boogie board kept going under and up, under and up. That was like almost about to drown. It felt like the scariest thing in my life.
All told, 5 lifeguards pulled 7 victims from the flash rip currents. Today, everyone will go home safely. La Jolla, California, home of the legendary Scripps Institute of Oceanography. This famous marine research facility was established here because this area is home to some of the most diverse shore life in Southern California.
La Jolla is renowned for the beautiful scenery and the wildlife around here. We have a lot of sea lions and seals in the area. You can see dolphins playing in the water, and it's a great scuba diving location here.
But the main attraction for diving in these waters may come as a surprise. Sharks. Hundreds of them.
The most common species of nearshore shark in San Diego is probably the leopard shark.
Leopard sharks have a fierce name, but these sharks have very small teeth and are non-aggressive.
So leopard sharks are very unique. They are about a medium-sized shark, typically about 5 to 6 feet long, maximum length, and they have these beautiful saddles and spots all over their body, which is representative of their namesake. The most common place to see leopard sharks would be La Jolla shores, where they form an aggregation every spring, summer, and fall, and the number can be up to several hundred. We don't exactly know why they're here, but they all seem to be pregnant females. We don't see the juveniles and we don't see the males, so probably not mating. They're probably there because it's calm water and because there's a lot of food around, but they are completely harmless to people.
Today, low wind and cloudless skies have created excellent water visibility for snorkelers looking to get close to these sharks.
There was actually a school of sharks around me. I probably saw literally 30 sharks, enough that it made me a little bit uneasy. There was a lot more life in the water than I'm used to seeing. There's a lot more bat rays, there's a lot of guitar fish, and the ocean seemed to be teeming with life.
With all the snorkelers in the water, lifeguards try to keep the swimmers from drifting too far from shore. Veteran lifeguard Amanda Skarsky heads into the surf line to keep watch. But something is watching her.
I was paddling the rescue board north, and as I was outside the breakers, I saw about 13 to 14 foot, what looked like to be a great white shark. It was probably about 2 feet away from me. It had a pointed nose, was gray in color, very large dorsal fin. This was not a leopard shark. This was not something that you want to mess around with.
There's been a report of a shark sighting in the area, and lifeguards are going to be clearing the water.
Exit the water, please. A shark has been sighted in the immediate area of La Jolla shores. The shark has been sighted.
The shark has been sighted in the immediate area. For your safety, we ask that you exit the water.
As swimmers scramble out of the water, Sergeant Mike Cranston deploys a helicopter to locate the shark.
This is Able 1. What's the location the shark was last seen?
Directly off the main lifeguard tower, directly outside the surf line, traveling in a southbound direction.
This year, a slew of shark sightings put lifeguards on high alert. 75 miles away, off Catalina Island, a white shark latches on to a teenager's paddleboard, biting it several times. Across the country in the cold waters off Rhode Island, a 1,600-pound white shark washes on shore.
I'm glad the summer is over. Don't think I'll go back in the water.
In Cape Cod, Massachusetts, beachgoers watch in terror as a white shark stalks kayaker Walter Zoltz before disappearing into deeper water.
I just figured this is it. This is it, or I'm gonna make it, I don't know.
But 21 miles to the north in Ballston Beach, Chris Myers is not as lucky.
A shark attacked, he's bleeding, he's wounded.
Tragedy struck when a white shark grabbed Myers in 6 feet of water. It was the first white shark attack in Cape Cod in over 75 years. Then, in Eureka, California, a shark pulls Scott Stevens from his surfboard. And in Santa Barbara County, another surfer is struck by a 16-foot white shark. The wound is fatal. In 2012, a total of 34 shark attacks are recorded in America. And La Jolla Lifeguards are racing to keep their beach off the list.
Everything north of the pier is in the advisory zone.
As the 14-foot shark prowls the water, lifeguards rush to evacuate 2 miles of surf line. They clear all beaches from La Jolla shores to Black's Beach.
Please dedicate a surf boat to patrol the shores area.
With several thousand people in the water, lifeguards call for extra support.
Jet 1 copies, en route to Black's Beach.
We are making warnings on all the kayaks that are currently in the water and pushing them southbound out of the closure.
Go into the beach, over there. As lifeguards right now, we're clearing everyone out of the water. We have our rescue boat, Rescue West, out, making sure if they happen to come across any scuba divers or stand-up paddlers that they need to exit the water. We want to prevent an attack from happening, so that would be the worst nightmare.
A quarter mile down the beach, witnesses spot a dark fin moving through the waves.
Oh, just saw it, yeah.
For the report, there's been about 8 other witnesses from shore.
But as soon as the shark is spotted, it vanishes.
We've checked around the cove pretty good. No sign of a large shark, just dolphin.
Without a visual, it's presumed that the shark has returned to the deep. But Cranston is hesitant to let anyone back into the ocean. Erring on the side of caution, lifeguards decide to keep the beach closed for 24 hours.
We have policies and standard operating procedures that tell us what to do in this case, and then we can make the best determination of how to get that information out to the public. The media want to obviously cover the story, and it does help us get the information out. So people, if they were planning to come to the beach this evening, now a lot of people will know that this beach is closed, and if they wish to enjoy some ocean activities, they should go to another area. So it's a good relationship we have with them. They do get on scene fast. They do help us get the word out to the public.
He said that there was a shark in the water and everybody had to get out.
Well, why was it so concerning to you?
My 7-year-old was out there.
And they are also looking for a good story. And when people are sitting down to eat their dinner and watching the news, a large shark sighting in La Jolla is definitely a good, juicy story for them.
In the history of San Diego, there have only been 3 fatal shark attacks. But none of those attacks occurred with a lifeguard on duty.
Very proud of how everyone acted, utilizing the PA systems from the trucks, the towers, the jet ski, the rescue boat. They're more than happy to maintain a presence out there for everyone's safety.
With 3.5 miles of uninterrupted coastline and over 11 million annual visitors, Huntington Beach is one of the largest and most populated in Southern California.
Today is just a gorgeous day. We just have like really light winds, which is kind of keeping the temperatures down a little bit. It's nice and cool.
With the weather cooling to 65 degrees and darkness approaching, a calm, clear evening is the perfect recipe for a beach bonfire. Families and friends flock to the 167 fire pits on Huntington Beach. But as Todd Bartlett, a 25-year veteran lifeguard, knows, a perfect evening at the beach can go wrong in just a few seconds.
We just got a call for help. It's going to be medical aid behind Tower 13.
10-4, I'll let you know, 10. I'll send over the cadets. They can assist you.
Lifeguard Griffin Camps was the first responder on scene.
This girl came up to me. She's like, I think my sister burned her hand back in the fire pits. Grabbed my first aid kit buoy, ran back to the fire pits. You could see full thickness burns all over her hands. So I wrapped her hand up, tried to keep it as moist as possible, and that's when Todd showed up.
It's gonna be a little girl. There's Mom right here. Mom right here? Okay. What's her name? Actually, go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and put a little dressing on top of it, okay? Okay. So what's happening is she's the tips of her fingers. Yes, well, the air is touching the tip, and that's what's causing all of her pain. It was knew instantly. It's what we call a full thickness burn, which means it went through her skin down into her nerves. It's a bad burn. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna put this one on instead. I want to cover up her whole hand, okay? Okay, it's hurting a little bit?
Underneath the sand was a layer of hot coals. She put her hand on there, and that completely burned her hand, burned all over it.
Did you have any more owies anywhere else on your hands or on your feet? No more owies? Was it just her hand? Anytime you get a burn, the clock's ticking, you need to get her to the burn center as soon as possible because every second goes by, that's more damage done to your hand and it could be irreversible. Okay.
Todd makes the decision to move the victim off the beach, where paramedics are waiting.
Hey, we're gonna go with Mommy inside the lifeguard truck, okay? Mom, we're gonna go in the front seat, okay, Mom? We'll come together. It's extremely hard to stay calm during situations, and I know for a fact that if I start freaking out, then the whole scene's gonna go downhill. So it's almost you have no choice but to stay calm and make sure that you give that little girl everything you got. It's okay, it's okay. I know. It's okay, okay?
Don't happen to me.
Yeah, we have a solid second, third degree burn to her almost her whole right hand. Nothing on her elbows, her hips are all fine. It's just all in that one area.
Patient contact time at 18:49.
On scene, the medics evaluate the victim's vital signs and decide to administer morphine to reduce the excruciating pain.
I was really fighting back tears almost that whole call before the medics got there and gave her the morphine because I knew that's the only thing that's really going to help her. Yeah, try to keep your arm down too. It's okay. Just keep by your chest. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That wasn't a routine burn. That was a significant burn. Her road to recovery is going to be years. I guarantee she's going to have skin grafts. And the good news was that she was able to use all of her fingers and she was able to move her hand. So that's the good news. But the bad news is it's going to be a scar there for the rest of her life.
In Del Mar, the lifeguards stay on the cutting edge, always looking for the newest and best. This includes their facilities, their equipment, and even their staff.
Welcome back, you guys. This is the last day of a month-long rookie school. We're gonna do the 3-mile swim. If you guys get in trouble, you got the buoy.
For sisters Sandy and Andrea Taylor, this will be their final test. Those who complete this swim will become Del Mar's newest lifeguards. Those who do not will be dismissed.
I'm freaking out because we're going 3 miles and it's gonna be a super long swim and it's gonna be really cold. So I'm getting kind of panicked and nervous. I'm a little worried about sharks.
For the first time, a lifeguard, a rookie in training, getting dropped 3 miles out, it is a big deal. And once we get them completing that, then all the nerves settle and they're actually ready to sit tower.
The trainees plunge into the 58-degree water with nothing but a buoy. For the next 3 miles, it will be just them against the elements. For the Taylor girls, this is more than just a summer job. It's about living up to a family tradition. Their 2 older sisters, Natalie and Sarah, are also Del Mar lifeguards.
We went on a hike the other day and she brought this to Utah. Stop it.
Andrea and Sandy, they really like the lifeguard stuff. And the older sisters want to hear about it. Do you have any rescues? What were they?
Andrea, where were you?
Headquarters.
Rookie point.
That's what they call it, rookie point? What do you do?
Enjoy myself.
That's a good name, I like it.
Really, it was a family affair. My sister was the first female lifeguard in Orange County. I think lifeguarding actually is sort of a shared experience. And as a lot of people tell you, our girls do spend a lot of time together. They're good friends.
Andrea is definitely like the crazy one. She's always been like that, and she always will be.
We don't have any boys, so we call Andrea our boy. And Andrea is very engaging and very athletic.
Sandy's the youngest sister that kind of branched out a little bit. She went different directions and tried something new.
She plays soccer and she rides horses and she does very well in school. And she lets everyone know what's going on and what she does and what she doesn't want to do.
Natalie, she's definitely got that older sister personality.
How do I put this in my backpack?
Oh, I can show you.
She takes things very seriously and will very often get her sisters to follow the rules.
Sarah is very much like her father. She's exceptionally bright, but she's the most sensitive, probably, of all the girls.
She's quiet at first, but she definitely has her little comments and is hilarious if you actually get to know her.
She was like, the food's great. I've never been there, but my friend's friend told me.
Actually, we all have different personalities, but we all mesh together well.
Meanwhile, as the open water race continues, the trainees are now less than a mile from shore. Sandy and Andrea stay close together, pushing each other onward.
Sandy was awesome to have with me. She was definitely a support.
An hour and a half into the swim, the new class of rookie guards take their first steps on the beach.
Feels great. A little dizzy, a little disoriented. Head is very cold.
Minutes later, both tailors arrive on shore.
First part wasn't that bad. It was once you could see people on the beach. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm only like 20 minutes, and it felt so long.
Definitely this moment means a lot to me. Finally completing, starting like an actual job and stuff like that. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right, guys, let's get close.
All right, 1, 2, 3. There's definitely a tailor name at the lifeguard department, and I do want to live up to it, and hopefully I am.